All right, looks like we're live. This is Coach Arnie or Arnie Fonseca Jr. And welcome back. We took a little week's hiatus here, but we are back roaring to go on a Halloween evening. So if you're actually hanging around here, and that's awesome, we'll take some questions from you live. And you know what? Hang on a second here. I almost forgot. We're going live on Instagram. So let me get that rolling here. Here we go. And let's talk. There we are, live on Instagram. Happy Halloween, everybody. And saying hi back to Cece, back from her nice trip. And tonight we're going to talk about culture. It's kind of an overdone term today. Hey, how you doing, Sadie? And but let's talk about culture for a minute, because we've been hearing about culture for a number of years now, especially with a lot of the businesses in Silicon Valley and how these young folks have developed these amazing businesses around the term culture. And again, remember that we are the Health, Love, and Life show, which means we'll talk about life, talk about health, we'll talk about relationships and love, and hopefully we can help you in all those different areas along the way. And but tonight's is culture, and it's interesting, the topic, because culture isn't just in business. Culture can be your family. It can be anything, really. And I'm going to explain that here in a second, because let's just ask the question. Excuse me. I didn't want to run over my cable here. What is culture? And a quick little definition is your brand, which is really big today. Marketing is selling, branding is yourself. It's like when they think of, if you think of pizza, the branding is so well that Pizza Hut will pop into most people's minds. And so branding is you. It's what you're known for. It's what you do. And it's your motto, like Nike, just do it, and so we also culture is also about your vision. Who are you? Where do you see yourself going? It's a vision. It's your values, what you believe in as a group, or if you're just a single person, it's what you believe in yourself. Because many a great business has started just with one person, one idea. And those are the values that many times will kick in. And each person, as they come into the company, buys in. It could also just be what you believe in, your beliefs. And lastly, to me, all these definitions around culture can be summed up in one word: attitude. That's right. See, to me, culture has been overdone just a little bit, because everybody wanted to have a Google culture, Facebook culture, or any of these companies that have these fun things going on and innovative, like Zappos. And the stories I've read on a lot of these companies is pretty amazing, and this culture that they developed. But you know what it really was? An attitude. Just an attitude, because that's what it was, before 20 years ago, before we even talked about culture. Back then it was societies. Culture meant, different societies or different ethnicities. But today it means business. But, it could also mean your family. Certain families have a culture about them or an attitude. Are they givers or takers? Are they angry? Are they sad? Are they excited about life? Are they forgiving? That's a culture. That's an attitude. It's an attitude. And so that's important. But see, attitude to me can never be overdone. There's no limit on attitude. There's no limit on being positive or encouraging or loving or empathetic or kind. There's no attitude on hard work limit on hard work and timeliness and trust. Is there? I don't think so. And so that's the neat thing about attitude is no limits. There's no limits, if we're working on certain skills for our business or company, whatever, sometimes there's a limit. You can only do so much, especially if it's sports. If you're only 5'5", you're not going to play in the NBA unless you have amazing skills. So there's certain things that might limit you on the skill side, but there's nothing that will limit you on the attitude side if you want to work on it. So remember that word, attitude. I wanted to share with you something I have on my computer screen. I've had it here for years. It reminds me every time I'm on a phone call or doing a podcast or Skype call or Facebook or Zoom call, anything, YouTube. I'm reminded about why am I doing all this. My culture, and it's three things that I truly believe in. The first one is my priority. And my priority is always to help people. It's number one, help people. I had a new client yesterday. It was 2 days ago. It was really struggling physically and emotionally too. Everything is a severe traumatic injury. And at the end of the day, I had to make an offer but I took in a big part of that was their needs, because I wanted to figure out a way to help them. I really did. And but at the same time, I have an objective as well that I must honor, and that's to make a profit. Because without that, then I can't help. See? Then I wouldn't have the time to help. I would be working some 9-to-5 job and have very little time left over to do the things I needed to do to help people. So making a profit is an objective. And it's a measurable objective, obviously, because I can tell how much or how close I am to meeting that objective. Okay? So number one is help people. Number two, make a profit. Number three, my goal. And this is my own. I'm not putting this on anybody else, but that's to please God. That's to please God. That's my spiritual nature that I have to be okay with. Because I can't do things that aren't pleasing to my God. And everybody has to be their own judge on that. I choose not to judge because that's not my place. So that's a little bit about my culture and what I do and how I see things. And so that's important. It's important because we're going to go through a number of things here in the next few minutes. Questions and ideas on how to literally create that culture, that attitude. Hey, I want to spend some time over here with you guys too on Instagram. Appreciate you guys all being here. And that is that if we're not doing these things as far as developing a culture, then we won't. And it will pretty much fall apart, especially when things happen, because stuff happens all the time. Stuff happens all the time, and things fall apart all the time. You know, I was listening to something today. In New York City, I believe it's something like 1,000 restaurants open every year. Okay? Every year. And over 800 fail in that same year. 800. Now, over the period of 3 to 5 years, more and more and more fail. Why is that? Why is that? Well, a lot of it is the culture, the values, the vision, all the things we talked about. And if we're not doing those things, things fall apart. And when things start falling apart, they fall apart quickly. They really do. They really do. And you're going to see here in a second. You know, one of the things that I have learned in running businesses and helping people to run businesses is the fastest way to begin the process of building a great culture or a great attitude is to listen. It's something that I've had to learn how to do over the many years here, that when we listen to people that are on our team, when we listen to them, it makes them feel safe. That's right. In today's age, if people feel safe, there's a better chance that they will engage with you and share with you things that are concerning to them. But only if you're listening. If you're not listening, then they're not going to think that you're engaged, that they're not going to think you care. Here's one for you. If I don't care how much you know, and people really struggle with this, especially very gifted, skilled people that run companies and businesses and stuff. And they think they're really smart. And in many ways they are. They're very smart. So what happens is that we get caught up in a trap, see? And so we don't end up listening. Hey, brave girl. We don't end up listening because we don't think we have to. And that's a big problem. And that will many times lead to the downfall of a company, because nobody has all the answers, or a team. But think about it. So you have better than 80% failure rate just the first year alone in New York City, just in restaurants. And a lot of that is just communication, attitude, all that stuff. So we got to listen. We've got to be able to ask questions, or feel free on the other side. We got to feel free to ask questions. And it's my job or your job, if they're on your team, to listen without interrupting. Now, let me go over that real quick, because let's say you're really excited and somebody's sharing with you and you're excited. Well, of course, there will be times that you're going to interrupt, because you're going back and forth. You're engaged. You're connecting. That's good stuff. But it starts with listening. And so try to avoid interruptions as much as you can. That's important. Now, another great way to begin the process of building culture is to invite input. I see this a lot. I see like suggestion boxes and on there using anonymous. And, to me, I think culture and attitudes improve when the team feels safe enough that they can inject their ideas into the conversation without being judged, without fear of judgment. It's really important. And I just don't think we do enough of that. So by inviting input into our team or into our meeting, whatever we might be doing, is a great way to not only make people feel safe, but to them feel like they have a purpose, a responsibility to the team. It's powerful. It really is. And again, backing up on that just a second, as far as inviting input, I mean, what you really want to center on to it, to make it productive, is you want to center on input that will make us better as a team. What will make us better? That's what we need to talk about. What will make us better? It's so super important, because you want your sessions, you want your team, you want your people anywhere, whether it's a family, whether it's a business, company, department, it doesn't matter. You want them to feel safe. Remember, we talked about that earlier. Safe. You want them to feel relaxed so that they will share with you things that can make us better. That's what we're aiming for. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes it's super hard because a lot of times people are afraid to share what's truly on their minds. Am I right? Yeah. If we're truly afraid of what might happen on that engagement. Okay. So we want to invite ideas, okay, into the mix. And if they're good ideas, you know what? I'm a big believer in having a team meeting. And we'll talk about it there too, but we'll just jump ahead for a second here. A team meeting where you have many of the people at lower levels on teams or on a committee. And then we start throwing these new ideas around and everybody has input. And that's important because first of all, let me jump ahead here. By giving everybody a voice, you make them feel safe. They have and this came up today at my workshop. They get a sense of fairness. And somebody brought up today about fairness and how, well, come on, life isn't fair. You're exactly right. Life is not fair. When I grew up, that word wasn't even a word. You just learn how to take care of it. Suck it up. That's what we heard. Because now remember, my generation, us baby boomers, we were raised by Depression era children. Think about that for a second. If you lived during the Depression, you didn't hang around and complain and blame all day long. How far would have that taken you? There were none of these programs going. You wouldn't have got too far with that. Okay. So, you have to make people safe, giving them a voice in the process, whether it be rules, regulations, accountability, all that stuff. If everybody feels that they have some input into that, things could and do go better. They go better. Okay? And it's fact. It's fact. And there's research to back all that up as well. So, how about this? Show appreciation. Powerful. Just powerful. If you're in a meeting, if your team is meeting, and you're the guy that's complimenting, or you're the lady that's complimenting people, and you're encouraging them, and you're, lifting them up. If that's who you are, do you think that that's going to matter to the person you're doing it to? Every time. Every time. There's a story. I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to just kind of throw it out here for it. It was about UCLA basketball, which had a phenomenal culture with Coach John Wooden. This was 50 years ago at UCLA. And one of the things he would teach his players to do was to, set the other guy up for a basket. And then look for the acknowledgement. Acknowledge the person that gave you the assist, let's say. And Coach Wooden always wanted that player to acknowledge it. Hey, man, nice pass. Hey, way to set me up, that kind of stuff. And one time a player asked, well, how do you know he's going to be looking at me for giving him the ball, for setting him up? And Coach Wooden said, oh, he will be. See, all of us want to win. We do. I did a workshop today, and first question I asked is, how many here want to win? Well, of course, everybody's hands went up. Then I asked them, how many here have ever won anything, whether it's tiddlywinks or football championship? I didn't care. Something where you go, yeah, I'm the champion. And, just about everybody raised their hands because they either won at tiddlywinks or paper football or a video game or something. They all did. You probably have too. And then I just wanted them to sit on that for a second and think about how it felt when you won. How did it feel? What were the emotions you were going through? And so many of them sat there and they went through that in their own mind and how it did feel. Because that feeling is something we all want to learn how to replicate. And we can. By learning how to set ourselves up to win. By preparing. By reading. By meeting the right people. By, changing times around a little bit. Not being so dogmatic and glued to what we're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, we all can do it. We all can do it. So it's just a matter of being patient with ourselves, but showing appreciation. That's a big one. It really is, because people want to be told thanks. It's just the way it is. They want to be told thanks because it just makes them feel good. It makes them feel good. Another thing again, kind of summarizing that a little bit, remember they want, everybody wants to feel safe by giving them a voice. And then we want to show appreciation. And that's really important. That's really important. We've got a break coming up here in just a second. So I'm going to hold off on my next point until we come back from a quick break on the Health, Love, and Life radio show on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with you. Okay. All right. Hey, guys, welcome back to the Health, Love, and Life show. I'm Coach Arnie, and we've been talking about culture, you know, and whether it be a business, a company, a department, or your family, and how important it is because the word has been beat up and used over and over and over again. But to me, it's about attitude. It's about attitude. I actually do a workshop on how having a better attitude can make you more revenue. You put more money in your pocket. Think about it. If you have a great attitude and you are working with somebody, or you are selling, or you are on the phone, or you are inspiring people like a coach, can you see how that can help you by having a better attitude, by not being judgmental, by being empathetic, having a better EQ? A lot of people don't want to mess with that stuff, that emotional stuff, the people skill stuff. They just want to be able to tell you what to do and then expect you to do it. Well, honestly, that's the old school way. That would have worked with me in my generation because we learned to appreciate anything, because remember, who raised us was Depression era kids. So we learned how to appreciate things because they didn't have anything and they tried to spoil us along the way. So that created some problems as well. Each generation is presented with certain problems along the way here. So, but attitude is something that all of us can improve. All of us can get to the next level because there is no limit to how your attitude can roll. Now, let me talk about another strategy. I use this today when you're trying to encourage, inspire someone on your team. Tell stories. People love to listen to stories. Instead of just sitting there reciting a bunch of facts, it's about stories. What does it mean? I told a story today, guys, back when I was coaching football and to a bunch of athletes, and, they grabbed onto it. It was just, I love stories. I'm a storyteller. That's probably what I'm doing right now, just telling stories. But telling stories helps you to build a better culture with your team or family. Heck, you parents out there, what most kids want? A story. I used to love stories when I was a kid, whether it be at school where the teacher would read a story to us or at home. People love stories. Learn how to tell some stories and just tell them about your life. Just be honest. Vulnerability is a powerful way to build culture. If you're vulnerable, if something, here's a great one. You want a great strategy for building culture? If something goes wrong and you say that, I think it's 4 words. That's 3. It was my fault. Or I was wrong. Try those 3 or 4 words. Powerful. If your team knows that you're not perfect and you're willing to admit mistakes and then fix it and come back better, you're teaching them how to do the same thing. Everybody's going to be better. But if you're trying to cover up because of ego, everybody gets worse and you build a lousy culture. That's not a culture of intensity, excitement. And, just winning. It's a culture of confusion. We don't want that. Okay, so tell stories. I'm a big believer in getting people together on the team that are just average Joes. So bringing in the average Joes to be a part of the leadership council on the rules, the regulations, the accountability. Today, we are talking about accountability and how important it is that if you're the one holding the other person accountable versus management or the coach, if the team is holding the other person accountable, do you realize how much more powerful that is than the coach is saying, blah, 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 blah. You are building tremendous attitude by doing that because you're going to be tested. We all are. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Okay. So leadership councils where you come together and come up with rules and regulations and accountability and all these really cool things. That's up to you. And now you are part of the process to develop the winning culture. You're not waiting for things to happen because you weren't involved. You are involved now. I told a group today, hey, look, it wasn't your fault that all this happened in the past. But as of today, you're 100% responsible for that. 100%. See, we can't give 110%. I mean, we all get caught up in that every once in a while. You say, oh, look, Jimmy John said he's going to give it 110%. No, he's not. No such thing. It's 100%. But I know this. If I am giving my 100%, if I know the other guy is giving me 100%, man, we're going to take off. Boom. We're going to take off. But it's just like love. And remember we talked about levels of love? There was 3 levels, really 4, but 3 that we focus on. Demand, horse trade, and unconditional love. Demand love is so horrible because it's like telling somebody how to behave. Doesn't work. Level 2, horse trade. That's what I call transactional. That's where most people are. Everything's a damn transaction. And then level 3, unconditional love. You love unconditional. It is not our job to judge. It's not. It is their job to judge, God's job to judge, not ours. Our job is to understand, encourage, and love. Period. That's all. And if you need to be the coach or the whoever for whatever you're doing, that's up to you if they're asking you for your help. Asking for help is different than telling somebody what to do. Okay? So it's kind of a neat thing when the individuals are in a part of the process of developing team rules and a culture as far as values and all that good stuff that we talked about earlier. Motto, vision, where are we going? When you involve other people in that, it makes you so much stronger. It really does make you stronger. And how about this? We used to do this years and years ago, long time ago. But how about when your team can run the meetings? Yeah. Your team should teaching others what you need to be able to do is a great way of learning. Teaching others is a great way of learning. Let's say you learned it, you were inspired, your coach, your mentor helped you, and then you turned around and you help somebody else. You will learn it twice as fast. It's true. You'll learn it twice as fast. So that's a really good one, is running meetings, letting the individuals run the meetings, let them keep other people accountable. It's an amazing thing to watch people develop a better attitude by having to do the things that you have to do. And that's something. It's powerful. It's so stinking powerful. And then we have, obviously, they can develop rules and consequences, and they can help keep others accountable. Hey, JP, haven't seen you for a while, dude. Or Jay, how you doing, pal? But keeping each other accountable is really a big thing. Because, see, remember we talked about earlier? I'm just kind of circling back here. Fairness, which, somebody brought up today. I never really was a big fan of fairness, only because I figured, hey, look, I'm just going to outwork you. But when you get around some of the people that I've been around and you talk to people, and fairness isn't even on the table. And that's why I think so many people are concerned with fairness. And little kids learn it in second, third grade. That's not fair. That's a big deal to them. It's a big deal to be fair. And if you don't demonstrate a sense of fairness, they pick it up pretty fast. Let them be in charge of that. Okay? It's a great way to build culture. Just amazing way to build culture. All right? And one of the things, let me end here tonight. We got a few more minutes here, but I want to end with some really cool questions because they're simple. I like simple questions. And if I'm working with a group, these are some of the things that I tell them to talk to their mentors about, their bosses, their managers, their spouses, their kids, their team. These are some of the things to share with them. Let's say there's something going on. And if you could ask your team, what would you do to solve this, to fix this, to bring this resolution? Actively get their input. So we talked about that earlier. But you actively get their input on a very serious question. What would you do? And take it into consideration. Don't just blow it off. You might have the answer right there in your hands. And then how can we fix this? If you're struggling, how can we fix this? And if you're open to people just helping you, you'd be surprised what might happen. You'll be surprised. People that don't have any idea what to do with your company may give you a pointer or two on how to be better if you're open to it. Here's a big one. What is one thing that, let's assume you're the manager. What's the one thing that they would say that you do that should continue? Maybe it's the 8:00 meeting. Maybe it's the doing something fun with your team every quarter. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's an accountability thing going on there. Okay, when somebody doesn't do their job. Who knows? But the only one way you're going to find out is by asking the question, what is one thing they do that should continue? So as manager, what are you doing that your team would say that you should continue to do? You could have 20 different things that you're screwing up. And they may go, yeah, but I love the way that she does this really cool thing in mathematics, So what's the one thing that they should that you do that you can continue. Okay, whatever that might be. I don't care what it is. Okay, and then what is one thing that they do that should be done more? So let's say that you're a football coach, all right, and you do a certain drill, or you have here's one that we used to do. You have a dinner, every pregame, maybe the night before, get everybody together, get the families together, and you did it once, and everyone, wow, this is really cool. Why don't we do this all the time? It's so cool. Have you thought of it? And so you have to actively go get that information, because you're not going to know unless your team says to you, hey, coach, man, when we had that dinner, it was so special. We got to talk to everybody. Hey, guys, we got to talk to everybody over here on Instagram. Thanks for hanging in. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share this when you get a chance as well. Share this when you get a chance as well. But, you need that feedback that says, let's do this all the time, and let's form a committee, but a serious committee. Let them do it. Let the team do it. The team will do it. You'd be surprised. I was reading some stuff this week on Gregg Popovich, the coach of the San Antonio Spurs. The things he does are amazing for the players. He even memorizes their favorite foods and drinks and everything, because everything he does is around meals and stuff, getting them together before games, after games, on the road. And that's bonding that happens. And he'll give them, him, players and their wives and girlfriends, dinner certificates to go out and have a nice time. Just crazy stuff to create that bond. But if you're not doing it enough, you need to let them know. Hey, coach. Hey, manager. Hey, owner. When you did that, that was so cool. We need to do that more. All right, here's another great question. What can be done to help you if you're the employee? Well, you can, if they ask you or you ask them, what can I do to make you better? That's a big one. Because, see, it shows that you care. You want them to be better. It's not about you showing them up. It's not about you pushing them around. It's not about you threatening them. It's about you embracing them, showing them that you care. Nobody cares what you know. You're not that important. I mean, obviously, if you can fire them, you are. But in the real scheme of things, in the world, nobody cares. But if they know that you care, if your team knows that you care, I promise you, they'll go all in with you. They'll go all in. They'll commit 100%. Because they're not going to care until they know how much you care. All right? So that's a super, super important thing to remember. And then I know I threw a lot of stuff at you guys tonight here as we kind of wrap up. But let's talk about some things for a second. How about something, and we don't have to utilize all these culture things, but I like to give out a quick tip every week. And one of the things that I want to give you guys on a health tip is, and this might sound a little crazy, but how about just encourage more? I was talking to somebody today that had a memory issue, has it. And I was talking to her about how the research shows that when people encourage others more, it helps their brains get better. Encouraging. Go figure, right? Go figure. And it has to do with love, with cancer too. Cancer victims that are surrounded by love and encouragement, kindness, they heal better. I've done it here before. They call it the Healing Connection at Duke University, and they showed that thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Hey, Craig, what's up, buddy? Got better faster with love and encouragement. So there you go. And as far as your love tip, let's bring back something we talked about today. Your relationship tip, culture. Listen. And I believe I've said it before, but listen. Something that I have to remember all the time. Listening is so stinking important. Today I was talking to a bunch of kids, and one of the biggest problems they had was communication. And you know what? It's both people's fault once you know. But improved communication improves everything. Money, relationships, culture, attitude. Better communication improves the attitude. All right. And then how about a health tip? We're kind of crossing the streams here all over the place with this too. But when you have a better attitude, it brings down the stress of the family, of the work environment, anywhere. And that's right, Craig. Communication is the key. And you know that, buddy. But if you can lower the stress, okay, in your situation, whether it be at home or at work. Remember those two mirrors I talked about before? Not today, but I've talked about having that same reflection. But if you can lower your stress through these things we talked about, you want better health? There it is right there. Bam. Better health all over the place. Well, guys, I appreciate it. And I'm hoping that you guys can use some of these tips in your personal life or at home or at work as far as building a better culture. But remember, it really comes down to you and your attitude. It's 100% on you guys. Take responsibility for it. Take responsibility for having the best attitude you can. There's no limit to it. And you'd be surprised. People are watching. People are watching you. You may not think they are. They're watching you. And you'll be surprised what it can get you in life if you're honest about it. If you're playing a game, maybe. But if you're honest about it, man, your life could change. Hey, guys, this is Coach Arnie. I really, really appreciate you guys. I look forward to any feedback you can send me. Coach Arnie F. Actually, it's Coach Arnie F. on Instagram, Arnie Fonseca Jr. at gmail.com. And there's my phone number there. So anytime you want to reach out, just have somebody listen to you. I'm waiting for you. Talk to you guys later. Be a blessing. Go out and have some fun as you finish up Halloween. And all is good. Love you guys.